Hola, buenos días.
Buenas tardes, buenas noches.
This is Barb.
And this is Estela.
And welcome to
Cafecito
and Crime. How are you doing today, sister?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm okay. I mean, it's only what? Tuesday. It's been a week. Like yesterday, like I don't know what was going on with work, or maybe like it's my fault también porque yo no me fijé que I had a meeting after a meeting. I literally had 5 meetings in one day, and it was like,
Why?
Could
have been an email.
So then today I was like, okay, cool. I'm not gonna have a meeting. Que no sé qué. Girl, meeting at lunch.
Yeah, I know. You
And I was like,
FaceTimed me
what
afterward.
the fuck? And then at the same time, my cat, I don't know if anybody else's cat does this, but she's obsessed with cream cheese. Like like every time we have, she loves cream cheese. So she's like following me around with the cream cheese or whatever. And today she ate
Your cream cheese.
Yeah. So I was like, great, this is fabulous. And
then I was telling her que esta Marie like acts like y'all don't feed her.
Yeah, like she's never eaten
in her life. Like y'all like starve her or something.
But the thing is, I had just fed her.
Yeah.
And she had just ate all of her food. So it's not like she doesn't have food. She eats.
That's what I'm saying.
And then we give her 2 kinds of food. So it's not like she's starving or anything.
Yeah.
And we give her 2 times a day. A lot of people only give their pets 1 time a day. Pero ella se está muriendo de hambre. Siempre.
She's participating in them big back activities
all the time, 24/7.
Yeah, it's just like she'll break into the closet donde está su food, and then she'll like try to rummage through like.
I had to so I have a little place where I put all of her like snacks and stuff. Los tuve que guardar because she'll in the middle of the night I me lleva los snacks para que se los abra, or like she'll open them herself.
But who leaves the door open?
Yeah, the kids leave the door open.
Yeah.
Y luego también, or she'll eat the dog treats también.
Yeah.
So, yeah, remember?
When you guys were gone this last time, you know the salmon cookies, the pooter? They were under your dining room table, bitch.
Yeah, she was eating them. She does that. So
and I was like, what? How did they? I'm like, that's not Pooter, because Pooter.
No, he won't do that.
Yeah.
I don't think he has
cares.
No, he doesn't have the mental capacity that far to
he doesn't
be like,
try to open the cabinet.
He's never tried. But I mean, I think cats are a little bit more like mobile that way than dogs. Like he's not like, he doesn't care.
She's more stealthy.
Yeah, like she'll go and she'll open the drawers. She'll open my drawers in my room, like me abre donde tengo like my socks, my accessories, and then at one point like she loves ligas, so she'll take out all the ligas and then I will tell Estela que I watched her myself open the fucking little thing donde tenía todas las ligas, and she'll open it with her little paw y saca todo lo que quiere de ahí, and I'm like, this bitch, like,
and then it's like 3 a.m.
Yeah, and I'm like, get the fuck off,
and get out.
And get out. So then, y luego la corro and she's crying, girl. Like, oh my God.
And then you have to open the door because she won't stop crying.
And then the kids are like, she didn't let me sleep last night because she was crying. And I'm like, dude, I just want to get some sleep too. Because she sleeps right on either touching me or on top of me. Like, she won't sleep with Alex, she won't sleep with Emma, and then, or she'll sleep downstairs in the down here, messing with the poor dog.
Yeah.
And I'm like, just leave him alone.
Yeah.
He's probably like, bitch, leave him the fuck alone.
Se para la noche because she sleeps all day.
Lately she's been getting the zoomies in the middle of the day and doing all bad shit. She's just doing bad stuff because the kids are up there.
Yeah.
So now that it's the summertime, like she'll go in, the kids will play with her or whatever. But most of the time she'll sleep and she'll remove the dog from his own bed.
Yeah.
And ella se acuesta.
Yeah.
La señorita. Y el otro ahí sentado.
He goes to the other side of the living room in the corner and shit over there.
And I'm like, no, get her off of your bed and you lay down on your bed. No, he's laying right next to me. I'm like, these pets, it's crazy.
Well, it says they do be laying in the bed together.
They lay in the bed together, and then if he sits up, like sits down or something, she'll hiss at him. Why? This is his fucking bed, bitch.
Yeah, I know you smell his scent all over it.
Yeah. No, we can smell his Cheetos.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can. He smells bad. So he needs a shower. But anyway, it's been I don't know why, I don't know, at work it's been kind of long, but I'm glad that it's already Tuesday. So already Tuesday.
Already Tuesday, okay.
Ya casi se acaba la semana.
I know we're supposed to have bad weather the rest of the week.
Stop. I don't want
You act like you don't know this.
No, I don't. Honestly, I don't watch the news. I don't look at anything.
It's not the news.
Or anything. Like, I just don't look at the weather. Like, I'm just living life a lo que venga.
Yeah. But now I'm telling you.
But now you're telling me. So then, then I tell Alex, hey, you know what? Estela said this. And then I'm like, I'll go look.
I was supposed to screenshot it. Oh, I thought I have. had, or to you and Tina on the group chat, that it said, okay, it's like level 1 type of flooding. That's
shut the fuck up, flooding and shit.
Sí, güey.
No mames. I thought it meant
it's hurricane season.
I know, pero I didn't know que I thought it was like I don't know, like a lot of rain or something.
Nomás a little bit.
Sí, pero que no.
Or like in other parts of town.
So on Saturday I saw Stella and I saw you I saw you Saturday and Sunday anyway. But
what did we do Saturday?
What did we do Saturday? No, I didn't see you on Saturday. I saw you on Sunday, right? No me acuerdo. But anyway, I was telling Stella, she was like, I don't want to go to the office on Monday. And then I was like, oh, that sucks. I'm like, that. I mean, I kind of want to go sometimes. Que no sé qué. And then on one of the fucking meetings that I had, now I'm going for this whole month. I'm going one day out of the week to the office. I was like, great, thanks.
But you said you wanted to.
I do. I like going to the office. Everything works there. Like the phones work, everything.
It doesn't work here at your house?
No, pero like a veces it lags or like the other person takes longer and stuff like that. So, yeah. But today we are going where, sister? Today you are bringing the episode, right?
Okay, so for today's case, we are going to 2 locations.
Oh, shit. Separate locations?
Yes. Okay. The first being Columbia, South Carolina.
So we're going to South Carolina. I think we've been to South Carolina because I said, I remember that I was like, so which one's better, South or North Carolina?
Oh, yeah. I think we've been there a couple of times.
To South Carolina, pero I don't think we've been to Columbia before.
No.
So if you would like to come with us to Columbia, South Carolina, go ahead and grab your cafecitos.
And let's get started. I'm sorry, I was trying to take your part, girl.
It's okay, girl. You can have it. You want to do it again, you can have the whole thing.
No, yeah. So the fun, random, interesting facts about Columbia is that due to its old abbreviation for the name of the town, the city was nicknamed the Soda City, despite not having to do anything with the soda production.
What? That's crazy.
So Columbia used to be abbreviated COLA, so cola.
Okay.
Which is a type of soda.
Yeah. That makes no sense.
Yeah. So that's why they used to call it.
That's interesting.
Soda City.
Soda City.
Yeah. But not because of soda.
Not because of soda or because they make soda there. Okay, that's all right.
Okay, now hold on to your calzones for the second one, okay?
A ver.
Okay, so number 2, it's that Assembly Street in downtown Columbia is extremely wide for a city. Like it's like the widest street ever.
Okay.
And it was designed this way because in the 18th century, so que los 1700s, planners that designed the street thought that it would help with mosquitoes because that by making the street wide, it would be too wide for the mosquitoes to cross.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
This, of course, was proved not to be true.
That the mosquitoes don't give a fuck about you.
Or your white-ass street.
They give no fucks, especially the ones around here that look like fucking birds. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No. So I'm gonna need them to get it together.
But it was the 18th century, so you know.
So they thought the mosquitoes, no, ma'am.
They didn't travel that far.
No.
So they were like, let's make this street fucking wide. Wider than any other street we've ever seen in this town.
And this is what the mosquito said. Fuck you and your white street.
He's like, watch me fly.
Watch me come and bite you in the fucking ass.
Across this
street. Is that you over there? I'm coming. I'm coming to get you across the street. The fuck? That's crazy. Okay. All right. Well, I hope that's...
But the street is still fucking wide as fuck right now, you know? Pero
está bien. Así nadie like gets in their way or
maybe anything. A lot of cars fit, you know?
Yeah, a lot of cars. Yeah. Cool.
Okay, so the second location is we're going to Surrey County, North Carolina.
See?
So we're going to the Carolinas.
To the Carolinas.
So the fun, random, interesting fact is that it is home to the burial. Is that how you say it? Burial?
Yeah, burial. I think we sound country, pero...
Burial?
No, don't even ask me because I know I'm a
The burial site of the original Siamese twins.
Oh, Siamese. Okay.
Eng and Chang Bunker.
Not Eng and Chang.
Do you know Eng and Chang?
No, pero why is their name Eng and Chang?
Te voy a decir. Oh, they were born in Thailand.
Yes, pero Eng and Chang.
Espérame. Eng and Chang were the first conjoined twins to gain fame.
Okay.
So they would do like freak shows and all that sort of thing.
Not freak shows.
Yeah. Well, you know how in the circus they do that sort of thing. Okay. So they coined the term Siamese, which is now the general term for all conjoined twins.
Okay.
So they toured the world and then eventually married sisters and settled down and raised families in North Carolina.
Okay, girl.
And then they became U.S. citizens. So, and they had like a weird arrangement because they were just conjoined from like their torso.
Okay.
And then they had, they raised families, todo eso. So sometimes they would go live with one of the wives in that house and those kids, and then they would spend time with the, se iban a vivir del otro lado, which it's crazy,
That is crazy.
Yeah, so...
that is wild
when
there.
Chang died in 1874, Eng died shortly after due to the shock of losing his brother and,
Can that happen? Can one be dead and then the other one be alive?
Mm-hmm, because they think they still have their own organ. They don't share organs, I guess, or not the heart. So they are buried at White Plains Baptist Church in Surrey County in North Carolina.
Interesting. Okay.
I thought it was...
that is very interesting. I don't...
Random fact.
That is very, very, very random. Mm-hmm. And the fact that... What was your last name?
Bunker. So that was not their birth name, but they just, eventually...
Their name was Wang and Chang. I still can't...
No, Eng.
Oh,
and
Eng.
Chang.
Ya les cambié el nombre a los pobres. I'm so sorry. Eng?
Like English, E-N-G, Eng.
Eng and Chang.
Chang.
Ay, no.
Like,
no, esto no puede ser.
Yeah.
That's
they
even,
were their first original Siamese twins.
I mean, I don't know which one's better now.
Like North Carolina with
their white street and their mosquitoes, or South Carolina and
with the Siamese
Eng and Chang. I don't know. I don't
you
know
guys
what
let
to
us
do.
know.
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah.
Send us a message. I would like to know.
Leave us a comment.
Yes, please.
Okay, so we, like I said, we're first going to South Carolina. And in the early hours on Wednesday, July 10th, 2002, at around 4:45 in the morning, a couple of calls were made to the police dispatch about a fire at the dead-end road, Oakway Road. Okay? This road was sort of like a road off a beaten path that would lead to Interstate I-77. So the fire department responded to the call and proceeded to put out the fire, and they discovered a body.
Uh-oh.
Yes. It was the burnt body of a nude black woman.
Oh, wow.
Police also arrived on the scene, and even though her body had been burned, you could tell she had been shot. And you could see that she had an exit wound in the back of her head.
So then she wasn't really burned. Llegaron pretty fast, because si no, pues no hubiera quedado nada.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of her legs had also been shot as well, so it made her leg look somewhat deformed, and it was like bent at a weird angle. At the scene, police found her clothes that were nearby and 12-gauge shotgun shell casings.
Oh.
Since there was no type of identification found in her clothes, she became a Jane Doe. So an investigator with the arson unit was called in, and he was able to determine that an accelerant was used to set Jane Doe on fire.
So then she was shot and then killed and then
burned.
Set on fire.
Yes.
Okay.
So during the autopsy later that morning, the coroner determined that she had been shot 3 times with a 12-gauge slug. This type of slug would have killed her with the first shot.
Damn.
I mean, imagine being shot with a shotgun.
I think that's pretty,
and
that's a lot. Because they make, they're huge, ¿verdad? Like, I don't know much about guns because I don't have one, but I'm just saying, like, I've seen that a lot of people talk about and that they're huge. O sea, hacen in big holes, ¿verdad?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, pobrecita, 3 times?
This type of slug, like I said, would have killed her with the first shot. It was also noted that Jane Doe was dead before she was even set on fire, since there was no discoloration
in her lungs.
That would have, been caused by smoke inhalation.
Mm-hmm.
So the Richland County Sheriff's Department tried to identify her through fingerprints, but since she had been burned, they weren't able to do it that way. The following day, on July 11th, an employee at the sheriff's department came forward stating that they had a cousin that had been missing. After getting the description of the employee's cousin, they were able to determine that it matched the description of the Jane Doe that had been found the day prior.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Like, you're just like, hey, my cousin's been missing. Oh, man.
And I know that you guys found a Jane Doe.
That is, that is wild. That's crazy.
Her name was Dale Yvonne Presley Hall.
Okay.
And she had been 45 years old.
Oh.
Also, Dale didn't live far from where the Jane Doe had been found. So investigators spoke to Dale's mother, Martha, and confirmed that, Dale had been missing. Martha provided them with the information of Dale's dentist, and through those dental records, they were able to conclusively identify the Jane Doe as Dale Hall.
Wow.
So many years later, from, this happened in 2002, there was an interview with Dale's son, Bernard Presley, where he spoke about the death of his mother, and he said, quote, "I felt like I lost my best friend. I love her and I miss her and I think about her every day, every hour, every minute of my life since she's been gone, and I'm sorry that I couldn't protect her."
Oh.
End quote. I know, that was so sad. So during the investigation into Dale's murder, her family told the sheriff's department, Captain Dave McRoberts, that Dale had been a nurse.
Okay.
So when they looked into her background, they learned that Dale was not a nurse, but a sex worker.
Oh.
Which she had been arrested for multiple times.
That's a stretch. Yep. Nursing and sex working?
Yeah.
Not around the same area.
She had worked around the Two Notch Road area. So keep this area in mind. Two Notch Road area.
Two Notches.
Two Notches, yeah. Two Notches Road. Mm-hmm. So investigators were not sure if Dale kept this from her family, that she had been a sex worker, or I don't know if maybe they knew and they just didn't want to admit it, or maybe at one point.
But why would you not just say it? Like if that's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what happened there,
Yeah.
But regardless of her
But I'm just saying, maybe ella les decía que she was a nurse.
That's what I was about to say. Maybe at some point she had been one.
Or maybe she wanted to be one.
Yeah.
I mean, pero that's just weird that they would be like, yeah, she was a nurse.
Yeah.
But I mean, it makes sense. Not that nurses are sex workers, sorry. But no. I'm just saying because...
I mean, if you are, good for you.
Good for you, yeah. But you're working late at night and stuff. Mm-hmm. You could just be like, oh, I was at the hospital or, So I guess, I don't know.
I don't know.
But that's just kind of a strange way to put it.
Yeah.
Know?
So, I mean, regardless of her profession, she was a person.
And she didn't have to die.
She was a daughter and a mother and a family member, and she was shot with a shotgun 3 times and then burned.
Yeah.
Like, who does that to a person,
Yeah, that was a little bit of overkill, you would say.
According to Martha, Dale in the past told her that if anything ever happened to her, the police should investigate her boyfriend at the time, Charles Reddick.
Oh, Lord.
She provided the police with an address of where he and Dale had been living. They were living in a trailer about 2 miles from where Dale had been found.
Okay.
After looking into Charles, police learned that he had a violent past towards Dale. Not only that, but he was also a convicted sex offender.
Oh, shit.
When investigators went to pay Charles a visit at his home, he wasn't there.
I'm not surprised.
They did speak to a neighbor, and they were informed that Charles had come home late at night and was washing his vehicle.
At night?
Which was unlike him.
Yeah.
I mean... Who washes their car at night?
I mean, you can't even see si lo está lavando bien.
I mean, but it's summer.
Sí, güey, pero
está bien
como quiera.
Throughout the day.
Pero como quiera, you can't even see si está...
I mean, lamppost.
Oh, girl, okay. If go wash your car at nighttime then. Go ahead, girl.
I mean, they just said the neighbor dijo it was unlike him. Now, I don't think people don't wash their cars at night, but it was just weird for him to be doing that.
In the audience, let us know right now if anybody that is listening will wash their car in the nighttime.
If where you live is really fucking hot.
Is it? Well, yeah. But I mean,
remember, it was July.
And this is South Carolina, and I know that it's in the South, so it's hot. But I want to know if anybody's out there washing their car in the
July.
Nighttime. Okay, in July, pero in the nighttime.
In the nighttime. And if it's in the nighttime, how night in the nighttime?
Okay. I need this information.
Okay.
Yeah.
We could always check it Reddit. At that moment, with what investigators had learned about Dale and Charles, they believe he mostly had something to do with Dale's murder. So they left and returned later that morning. And this time he was outside working on his truck.
Otra vez? First he was washing it, now he was working on it.
Yes.
Es que no prendía, pues.
Pues a lo mejor, quién sabe. Mm-hmm. So Charles was informed of Dale's death and was utterly distraught.
Really?
He was taken into a station and was interviewed. He denied having to do anything with what happened to Dale and even took a polygraph test.
What?
Which he failed. Yeah, but as we know, a polygraph test isn't reliable, and since they had no hard evidence against, or any evidence really against Charles, he was let go.
You know what's crazy? Side note, like that with all the technology that we have now, we haven't been able to come up with something besides a polygraph test to find out if somebody's lying.
Yeah.
Like from all of the technology that they have now.
I'm sure there's some that we don't even know about.
AI and shit, todas estas madres que hay. And then you can't come up with something better than a polygraph test, you know?
I wonder if it's in the works.
Maybe. And if it is, can I have money? Because I just thought about it.
I doubt you're the first one that thought about it. I'm just saying. You never know. So like I just said, Charles was let go. So about 5 days later, after Dale was found, investigators received a phone call from a woman named Shonda, who was a sex worker and worked around the area of Two Notch Road, where Dale had worked. She stated that after Dale had been found, one night she was working when she got into the car of a client or a customer. They drove to an isolated area and, they were going to do their thing. But before he got to that, the customer raised his shirt and he had the words serial killer on his stomach.
Okay.
Which Shonda said she believed was, or it looked like it was written in blood.
That's really scary.
She thought to herself, aquí quedo. Yeah, he's going to kill me.
He's going to die, yeah.
But when she saw an opportunity to run, like she took it and she was able to get away.
Qué bueno, dude. That's so scary.
Bitch, I think ahí me desmayo.
No, bitch. First of all, no, ma'am. No, I would not make it out on the streets. I'm sorry. I'd be like, blah, blah, gone. Be like, excuse me, what? Gone.
What does that say? Can you deletrearlo, por favor? Even though it says under.
¿Qué dice, oiga? No, es que no miro muy bien, oiga. Es que I'm not wearing my glasses. Bitch, out.
This was significant to investigators since it was around the same area where Dale used to frequent.
Yeah.
At this time, they were thinking that Charles was still involved. So remember, Charles is Dale's boyfriend or ex-boyfriend. And so they showed Rhonda a lineup of suspect photos, which included Charles. But she stated that it wasn't any of the men in the lineup. According to Shonda, the men she encountered that night was on the younger side and drove a small colored car. Charles drove a pickup truck.
Okay.
So eventually...
Pero anda bien limpia la pickup truck.
Pues sí, la andaba lavando y arreglando.
Y arreglando.
Yeah.
Cambiando el aceite.
Y las llantas.
Y
las wipers. Echándole wiper fluid, So eventually Charles was cleared as a suspect.
I don't know if I would clear Charles myself, but...
A couple of days later, on July 17th, the sheriff's department learned of another shotgun-related incident that happened in Columbia's police department jurisdiction, downtown Columbia to be exact. And it took place a couple of days before Dale's body had been found. Okay. So on Sunday, July 7th, Dale was found on July 10th, yes. So around 3:30 in the morning, a homeless man named Jimmy White was sleeping on a bench in Finley Park in downtown Columbia when he was approached by a young black male. The black male ordered Jimmy to get up and without even another warning, shot him.
What?
In the shoulder.
With the shotgun?
Yes.
Dude, who is walking around Columbia downtown with shotguns in there?
En la madrugada.
En la madrugada. I don't get it.
When Jimmy fell back to the bench, the black male ordered him again to stand up.
But you just shot me.
And then shot him again.
Bruh, you just shot me and then you want me to stand up and then I know.
And then you shot me again.
I would have been like...
No, aquí quedó.
Sí, exactly. Once again, gracias a Dios que a mí no me ha pasado eso because I would be in trouble because I would be like, you just told me to sit down. Shot.
You know what? I'm just... I've seen enough.
I'm good, Stand up. I can't. You just shot me, but you just shot me right here and you telling me to stand up. I'm bleeding, whatever.
Jimmy White, though he was critically injured, miraculously survived.
Good job.
Yeah.
Okay, Jimmy.
Since there wasn't any interaction with the shooter prior to being shot.
Bro.
And it was dark outside.
He was asleep.
On the bench in
the
park.
On the bench. Not messing with nobody.
Jimmy wasn't able to provide many details about who had shot him.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, y'all need to go around and check everybody that has a freaking shotgun. This isn't a small gun, dude.
Exactly.
It's not a
where
small.
Do you put it?
Yeah, it's not a small. I mean, even if they do make it smaller, because I've seen people talk about making a shotgun smaller, in size,
a 12 gauge shotgun.
But, yeah, well, where they cut off the. Yeah, I've seen that.
Barrel? Is that a barrel?
The barrel, yeah, whatever. I don't know. I don't have any guns. I don't know anything about it. Pero I've heard of that. So even at that,
they saw it off, right?
Yeah, they saw it off to
a sawed-off shotgun or something.
Something like that. Pero my deal is, even at that, that's still a long-ass fucking gun.
That, like, where do you... A lo mejor
Like,
that's why
te la metes, güey?
Like, you're wearing, like, a trench coat in the summer?
Probably.
No le dan un pinche heat stroke, pero por eso sale en la noche.
Por eso sale en la noche para que no le dé calor. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
At this moment, law enforcement is trying to figure out if the two shootings, Dale and Jimmy's, and the incident with Shonda were connected. I mean, people, like we were just saying, aren't just fucking being shot with shotguns. Like, who gets shot with a shotgun? More than one person, you know?
More than one person, yeah.
As the investigation into Dale's death continues, investigators start checking motels and hotels that she might have frequented with customers. They also began to ask other sex workers questions that worked the same area, but it all yielded no leads. Dale's case began to go cold.
Oh, shit.
And it would be about a month later after she was killed when a lead would actually turn the case on its head. So on August 8th, a 911 call...
Almost a month.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A call came in through the dispatch about a shooting at a Texas Roadhouse.
Not the Texas Roadhouse.
Which was right off I-77 and Two Notch Road.
Two Notch Road, okay.
When officers arrived, they saw a wounded man who had been shot on the right side of his head, and apparently he was near his own car.
Let me guess. With the shotgun.
Hold on. We'll get there. And the victim was surrounded by witnesses. A witness identified the shooting victim as 22-year-old Jedediah Har.
Oh my God, he's 22.
He went by Jed, so I'm just going to call him Jed. So EMS arrived and transferred him to the nearest hospital. So the back window of Jed's vehicle had been completely shattered. At the scene, officers found one 12-gauge shotgun shell. According to witnesses, which included employees and customers of Texas Roadhouse, law enforcement was able to piece together what happened. They learned that there had been a dispute between employees at the Texas Roadhouse, Brian Markey and Quincy Allen. So it appeared that Quincy, I guess, would pick on some of his female workers at Texas Roadhouse, or he was kind of like a dick. And that night, Quincy was picking on Tiffany and her sister Tennille. Tiffany, who was 12 weeks pregnant, got fed up and told him off, and he didn't appreciate that. He threatened Tiffany and told her that he was going to punch her so hard that it was going to leave a mark on her baby's head.
What? That's not okay.
And remember, she's 12 weeks pregnant. Tiffany obviously got scared, called her boyfriend, Brian Markey, again, who also worked at the Texas Roadhouse. He just wasn't working right that very moment, and let him know what happened. Okay? So Brian, who had been hanging out with his friends Jason Boyd and Jedediah Har, made their way to where Tiffany was to go pick her up. According to witnesses, Brian went inside and confronted Quincy. Things got heated. They began to hurl insults at each other. And the manager, made them both leave. And before things got out of control and it became a problem with the customers. Mm-hmm. So everybody went outside. Brian and Jed got into Jed's car. And then Jason, who had driven himself, went into his car. Now, Quincy also went to his car and retrieved a shotgun.
Oh, shit.
And as Jed began to drive away, Quincy pointed his shotgun at the back window and fired. The shot was meant for Brian, but it hit Jed, which caused him to drive his car into a little ravine. Mm-hmm. And then that led to a parking lot of a gas station. So ahí fue a dar el carro. And then Brian got out of the car and made his way inside the convenience store.
To call the cops.
I don't believe there were any customers inside, only the clerk, Miss Roberta Harrison. Mm-hmm. She heard the crash. And so she went to the window to see what happened. And just as she was walking back to the counter, Brian made his way inside the store and told her quickly to call the police. Mm. He was holding the back of his head, and all of this is on surveillance, so you can see it online. He was holding the back of his head and said, "Oh my God, am I bleeding?" And Miss Roberta is now on the phone with 911, and she informed the operator her name, where she was, and that there had been an accident on her parking lot. She also relayed what Brian had told her to say, that someone had fired a shotgun at him and was trying to kill him. So Miss Roberta later says that it must have been adrenaline or that was going through her, but she said that she just felt the need to do something. So she told Brian to go hide behind a cooler and to be quiet. She walked him to the cooler and walked back to make sure that the door was locked and closed. But just as she was nearing the door, Quincy walked in.
Oh, shit.
Holding the shotgun in one hand, and in the other, he had shotgun shells. Roberta stated that she remembered smoke still coming out of the barrel of the gun.
Damn.
That the gun was smoking. Quincy asked her where the fuck was Brian, and Roberta, again, adrenaline did not back down. She walked up to him or close to him, and she told him, I don't know who the fuck you're looking for, but no guy ran in here, and you need to get out.
Damn. I would have been like, right there. I'm sorry, but he has
a smoking
shotgun, and he's going to shoot me too.
Quincy just looked at her, and then he turned around and left.
Yeah, because he probably was like, he saw that she wasn't scared of him. Yeah. She was probably like, bitch. She probably would have shot him if she had a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, she would be like, get your ass out of here.
That's bad bitch behavior.
100%. She's the bad bitch of the story for sure.
So we later learned that after he left a convenience store, Quincy went to Brian's home and said set fire to his front porch.
Not fire. Jesus.
A few hours later, Quincy set another fire, and this time to Sarah Barnes' car, who was another Texas Roadhouse employee.
Oh, so he's just burning everybody's shit up.
And it was like he was on an arson rampage because just the following day, he set another car on fire.
What the fuck is wrong with this fool?
Which belonged to a man he did not know.
Just random ass man.
Named Don Bundrick.
Poor Don. He was just fucking chilling y nada. Ya no tienes carro, burnt the fuck to the ground.
Explain that to your car insurance.
You imagine? Bitch, I'm just sitting here.
But how are you going to prove that?
Chilling.
No había ring cameras.
No había nadie. Your shit's burnt. Like, what the fuck? No, that's fucked up. Quincy needs to go to jail.
Later that evening, the day that he burnt Don's car, he went to a strip club where he pointed his shotgun at patrons.
At the strip? Why not the squippers?
Like, how do you walk in with the shotgun?
Bro, the strippers are just dancing. Leave them alone.
Trying to make their monies.
Bro, my God. I don't know about this guy. With this big-ass shotgun. I'm telling you.
Like, you're just walking around with
this big-ass shotgun. It's crazy to me.
Investigators...
So the cops didn't find him? Like, after she told them who he was, what he looked like,
He was gone. Remember, he went to
he's fucking making fires everywhere, telling them where they're at. So, go look for the fucking around the fire.
He was going from location to location to location.
Oh my God.
Investigators learned that the 12-gauge slug used at the Texas Roadhouse shooting was from a similar weapon used to kill Dale.
Oh shit.
Another similarity was that Texas Roadhouse was just across the freeway from where Dale had been found. Mm-hmm. And also, Quincy fit Shonda's description of the young black male she managed to get away from.
Oh, okay. The one that says serial killer.
Yes.
En la panza.
Sí. Investigators were now looking at Quincy as their main suspect.
Yeah,
but
catch him quickly.
Yeah, but he had fled the scene and was nowhere to be found.
Girl, he's gonna burn something else up. Just follow the burning. Like, come on.
So the search for Quincy was on because they feared that, based on everything that they knew up to that point, he was gonna kill again.
Yeah, definitely. And for no reason, because now he's walking into strip clubs. Now he's like burning shit down.
Burning Don's car, que ni lo conocía.
Don, nada que ver con Don, el pobre. Now he has no car. Like,
he has to explain that again to his car insurance company.
No. He's gonna keep going. Like he said, a serial. He's doing this more than one time.
Yes.
What happened to Jedediah?
We're about to get there.
Oh.
Now, Jed was in critical condition. And he sadly passed away from his injury.
I know. He was 22, Estela. Mm-hmm. He wasn't doing nothing. He was probably with his partner. And he was just
like your case last week.
Yeah.
Que nada más, he took his friend to go, que iba a extorsionar some people or whatever.
Yeah.
Pero tampoco no sabía nada.
He had no idea, yeah.
He just went to take his friend
21-year-old. Yes, his 22-year-old.
22. He was just taking his friend to go pick up his girlfriend or, help.
He probably had no idea what was going on. No idea.
I don't think anybody had any fucking idea what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Who the fuck knew that
at Texas Roadhouse
your coworker was going to bust out a shotgun?
I don't even know. Was the shotgun in his car?
Yeah, in his car. He pulled out of his car.
Because, girl, like if he was working with shotgun, like, come on.
No. Like, what are you going to do? You're going to kill the cow?
I'm not surprised, but whatever. But that's crazy to me. Pobrecito. 22 years old.
So for sure, up to this point, they knew that he had killed Dale. I mean, they obviously thought that he was connected to Dale's murder, but they needed more evidence on that.
Well, yeah, but at this point now, he's already, killed this other poor kid. What happened to Brian?
Brian, he was fine. Because no le alcanzó a pegar con la bola, le pegó ayer. Yes. Pero nomás el trancazo que se dio when that little car went over the ravine. So.
Oh, okay. So then that right there, attempted murder now. Mm-hmm. And then did they say anything about the guy that was sleeping on the...
Jimmy?
Jimmy?
We do find out later that obviously they were all connected, pues. It was all Quincy.
Oh, okay. Fucking Quincy, bro.
So let's backtrack a little bit and learn who Quincy Adam is.
Now, don't really want to know because he's a piece of trash.
It's so sad, a sad and tragic upbringing, just filled with abuse and neglect at the hands of his mother and his partner, or her husband. It was
her husband, no, her husband, not his partner,
not his dad.
No, okay, because you said his partner.
Oh, I'm sorry, her partner.
Her partner. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So Quincy Javon Allen's parents were together a short time before his mom got pregnant, unplanned. The relationship didn't last long either after he was born, or even, I don't know if they were together before tampoco. He was born on November 7th of 1979. Is that the year that Vanessa was born?
Yes.
Okay. So his mom had disdain for him right away and looked at him as a liability. It is reported that when he was 19 months old, he got really sick with an extremely high fever that reached 106 degrees. Mm. At some point...
He could have had a seizure.
Yeah. He could have died.
Yes, that's crazy.
At some point, she took him to get medical attention, and the hospital staff reported that his mom, quote, appeared unconcerned and had not had prescription filled or given aspirin because she had other things on her mind.
Oh, okay.
Also, quote, she is hostile and shows no affection for the child. And so CPS became involved.
Okay.
This type of neglect was only the beginning. And it is said that his abuse began at 12 months. So when he was a year.
Oh, my gosh.
And it would actually
what would a baby do to you?
Nothing.
Why are you so upset? He didn't ask you to bring him into this world.
Yeah.
A 12-month-old.
Or just any baby.
Any baby. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Any baby. What does a baby can do to you? The baby doesn't...
They love you.
They're innocent.
Yeah.
What did the baby do to you? Nothing.
Bitch.
Yeah.
No, she's a piece of shit. Just wait. The abuse got worse as he grew up, sadly. Later, Quincy's mother ended up marrying a man named Graylin Manning, who was an abusive piece of shit like her. Mm. He'd abused both Quincy and his mom.
Okay.
There was an instance where Graylin broke Quincy's leg, and in another sent his mom to the hospital for stitches.
Pero ¿por qué no se lo quitan a la señora, al niño? The fucking system...
It's broken.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really sad. In another instance, this man pointed an empty gun at Quincy's head.
Oh, my God.
And pulled the trigger.
No.
Mm-mm. Do you think he knew that the gun was empty?
No, he probably didn't know. He didn't know.
He was like a kid.
Yeah.
Imagine
el miedo.
I know. The trauma.
The trauma, yeah. Mm-hmm.
When his mom would beat him, because she would, she sometimes did it with sticks and belts in a locked room. When Quincy was 6, after having beat him, she put him in a big residential trash can, the ones that have wheels, and then closed the lid.
Oh.
A form of punishment for whatever he did wrong in her mind included withholding food for extended periods of time. At just 7 years old, I believe he had 2 younger siblings, también hermanos.
Oh, okay. So he was the oldest.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
So when he was 7, he'd be left to watch his younger siblings.
At 7?
At 7.
Oh, my God.
And the mom abused the younger siblings too, no nada más él.
Okay.
And a neighbor reported...
She was probably abused too when she was younger.
Yeah, it's a cycle.
It's a cycle, yeah.
Sad. And a neighbor reported seeing them drinking water from the gutters. Rainwater.
No.
It was also a common occurrence for him to be tied to the end of his bunk bed by both arms with extension cords, quote, kind of like Jesus. Quincy would be hit and whipped with a stick and belt, and then he'd be left tied and alone, but the abuse would continue when his mom returned to do it some more. When he was in the 5th grade, so he must have been like 10.
Yeah.
His mom beat him for an extended period of time and threw him in a closet so that she could go rest. And when she was done resting, she pulled him out of the closet and continued the abuse until she was done. She then threw Quincy in the bathroom where he spent the night on the floor.
Imagine.
In school, he was bullied for his appearance and hygiene, and it got worse throughout the years.
So he would get it from everywhere.
Yeah.
And the teachers, like, did anybody report anything? Like, this is when it makes me upset.
Yeah.
All of this that is building up on this poor kid, not man, because Quincy is a man now.
Yeah.
But when he's a kid, all of that is boiling up to a point where he turns violent, and we could have saved a lot of lives if that could have been avoided.
Or he would have been...
maybe gotten treatment or medications or whatever.
During his time in middle school, his mom found another way to torture him, if you can believe it.
More?
To, quote unquote, discipline him, as she called it. She would have Quincy, like, stripped down to just, like, his underwear or his underpants. And then she would, like, make him hold his hands to the back of the chair with, and she proceeded to whip him. I don't know what this lady was...
thinking.
Or doing.
Around
this time, she also began to lock him outside of the house. Oh. And he'd have to sleep on the porch. It didn't matter.
Neighbors, anybody out there can...
It didn't matter how the weather was outside, bitch. It could have been freezing. Yeah, y lo dejaba. As no surprise, Quincy began to act out.
Yeah.
And when he was in the 7th grade, he brought a knife to school. Quincy was sent to the South Carolina's Reception and Evaluation Center and assigned a social worker. He told the social worker the abuse that he had been suffering at the hands of his mom. And he said that she had, quote, thrown a chair at him, violently shoved him against the stove, tried to hit him with a hammer, choked him with his tie until he fainted, made him stay out all night without proper clothing with the temperature in the low 40s, and that she punched him in the mouth the day that they went to court, end quote. So obviously they were going to court for, she probably had open cases against her with TPS.
And not only her, but his siblings as well, Oh, okay.
Over the course of his childhood, there were various times where he had been placed in different foster homes, but it never worked out. No. He always ended up going back to his mom. In high school, he had poor social skills and didn't have many friends. The friends that he did have began to notice, like, a shift in his behavior. He began to mumble to himself, and he sulked a lot. And then at this time, también, during his high school years, he burned a smiley face in a neighbor's lawn with chemicals.
Okay.
His appearance and hygiene were not any better. A teacher noted that his clothes were always crumply and described his smell as, quote, worse than I've ever smelled any other human in my life.
Pobrecito.
In 1997, when he was 18... his mom kicked him out of the house on Christmas Eve, with the temperature being freezing cold. That night he spent it in the playground of a McDonald's. Besides being sent to a different foster homes throughout the years, there was a point where he was sent to live with his biological dad in Aurora, Colorado. But it didn't work out. He would end up homeless after this or end up back at his mom's. Later we learn, again, a surprise to no one, that he suffered from mental health problems.
Of course.
According to a child psychiatrist, Dr. Richard Harding, who treated Quincy in his teens, he suffered from an uncommon disorder or syndrome known as rumination, which is usually a form of self-comfort, possibly as early as his childhood.
Yeah, she probably did some damage with the beatings, I'm pretty sure.
So I had never heard of this. Obviously there's many syndromes and disorders that we've never heard of, but rumination, if you're easily grossed out if you're eating, you probably don't want to hear this. But rumination is the act of repeatedly regurgitating undigested or partially digested food from the stomach. You chew it again and then swallow it again or spit it out.
Oh, I've heard of that.
This happens without effort. So it literally just comes up.
Yeah.
Which is so sad. It is a way to control emotions for someone who is anxious, agitated, or fearful.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And then I think I read somewhere, I didn't
know that that's what it was called, but I've heard of something like that. Yeah.
And then it said that the reason they figured out that he had rumination because I guess they had taken him to the dentist and
had rotten teeth.
Decayed,
yeah. De lo mismo, from the acid of the stomach that comes up, and then sorry if you're eating. I apologize. Hopefully you're not. But the acid that he makes himself vomit and then comes up, so the acid will stay in his mouth from his stomach and it'll decay.
So in his teenage years, he was committed for inpatient psychiatric hospitalization 6 different times. And I'm going to go over just a couple of them. The first one being right before his 18th birthday when his mom kicked him out of the house. He ended up returning home, called the police, logged his mom out.
Okay.
When the police arrived, he was found in the attic eating insulation. He was taken to the ER and then referred to the inpatient psychiatric facility.
Yeah, because people are not supposed to be eating insulation.
He was later released, but readmitted a week later after he ingested Tylenol in a Walmart. His mom was notified and she refused to go see him.
He was probably trying to kill himself.
He was kept until his 18th birthday and he made the decision to stay by that point. He was eventually released from that stay and was sent home with a taxi voucher, knowing that his mom didn't care about him. And so he became homeless at that point. By his 4th commitment, he made the decision to admit himself. So he went in. He stated that he was very depressed and he had thoughts of self-harm. During this stay, he was hostile and agitated. He threatened staff and was put on antipsychotic medication. When a social worker contacted his mother, she, quote, requested she not be contacted again and that she did not want to be involved and that the patient could not come live with her, end quote.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Pinche vieja estúpida, desgraciada, maldita porquería. I don't know how some kids have kids. I mean, I don't know how some people are able to have children.
I mean, it's just circle of life.
I hate it here. Mm-hmm. Get off this planet. By the time he was released from his 6th and last day, he was again homeless. Just days later, he was arrested for attempting to steal a car from someone's garage. He was convicted and incarcerated at this point because ya era mayor de edad. During this time, he was having suicidal and homicidal thoughts, and he did attempt to take his own life multiple times. After he was released, he returned to live with his mom. I don't know how that ended up.
Why? Pero es que at the same time, you know how a lot of people are always saying like things that you do, like regresas a lo malo because you don't know any better.
You don't.
Like he doesn't know any better. He'd rather be with that woman being
that's his mom
mean to him and a bitch and being the
that's
shit
all
out of him.
He's ever known. That's
all he's ever known. So he'd rather have that than nothing.
Yeah,
that's sad. That's so fucking sad because he'd rather have that toxic environment because he didn't know any better.
Like he doesn't know that it's not supposed to be that way. You know,
he's like, that's the way it should be. She just beats me up, and I don't know. I just kind of sit there and let her. Yeah. You know, that's so crazy.
It's so tragic,
sad.
And then when that period, he actually enrolled at Midlands Technical College, and he found work through a staffing agency.
So he was trying,
and he did okay for a period of time until his mom kicked him out again. So that kind of snowballed into him quitting his job. And then again, he became suicidal and again tried to take his own life several times. Again. Later, while he was in jail awaiting trial for what we're talking about today discussing, he was diagnosed with schizophrenia by multiple forensic psychiatrists, but also that he could be malingering. So, which means exaggerating or feigning illness in order to escape duty or work. So they thought that he could be faking it, but that he was not. It could be a possibility, but in his case, like in the moment, he wasn't.
Okay.
So literally, that was his life up until July 2002.
So how old was he?
He was 23 in 2002.
Yeah.
Well, his birthday's in November, so he was 22.
Yeah.
And his birthday would have been in November, so months away. So now back to the Texas Roadhouse shooting investigation.
So then he got a job at Texas Roadhouse? Okay. And when does he get this shotgun is my question.
Good question. Hold up. I don't know how he got it, to be honest, but he ended up with one. I mean, it's not hard.
Out there. I mean, not here. I know. I get it.
But back then,
not hard, but yeah.
2002.
And a shotgun.
Yeah. Investigators now had a name. And they learned from records what type of vehicle Quincy drove, which was a white Dodge Neon. And, they got the information of the license plates. A bolo was put out to all agencies and also with the information that Quincy was wanted for murder. After looking into Quincy a little bit more, they learned more about his criminal background and that he had just gotten out of prison the year prior for a car theft related charge. The following day, on Friday, investigators were able to secure arrest warrants. And after inputting his info into the NCIC, which is the National Crime Information Computer, they got a hit. And remember, we said by this point, he was on the run, right? Like nobody knew where he was.
Yeah.
So when they got the hit, Quincy had just recently been issued a speeding ticket in Virginia.
Oh.
So it was that same morning, that Friday morning en la madrugada.
So él andaba
En chinga, yeah.
chinga, like,
yes.
I'm out of here.
I'm hitting the road, yes.
Yeah.
This led investigators know that he was heading north and that they were working on tracking him. And actually, he ended up making it all the way to New York.
What?
And then came back.
Okay.
Yes. A couple of days later, on Sunday, August 11th, so this is literally like ya pasando el mes de Dale, cuando lo encontraron. The captain with the sheriff's office in Surrey County, North Carolina, called at the time Lloyd Terry, who was a special agent with the NC State Bureau of Investigation, and asked him for some help in regard to two people being murdered at a convenience store near I-77.
Oh, shit.
When Special Agent Terry arrived at the crime scene, it was brutal. There was a lot of blood spatter. One victim was located in front of the counter, and the second one was behind it.
Okay.
It was clear that the second victim was the store's clerk, the one that was behind the counter. And based on where he had been shot and the way he had been found, he was found laying on his back. They were able to conclude that his back was to the shooter when he was killed. So they lo agarraron de sorpresa. After contacting the store owner, investigators learned the identity of the employee, 53-year-old Richard Hawks. The victim that was in front of the counter didn't have any type of identification on him, so they weren't aware of his identity just yet. As they were canvassing the scene, investigators noticed a white Dodge vehicle outside. As they ran the license plate, it came back as belonging to a Quincy Allen out of South Carolina, who was wanted for murder. Since the convenience store had multiple surveillance cameras inside, law enforcement was able to see exactly how the murders happened.
Oh, yeah.
So it was like 11 p.m., almost midnight, and you see Quincy walk into, and he makes a purchase, and then he leaves. And then Richard, after he wrung him out, he said, "Fue Quincy." He started stocking the cigarettes cabinet.
Behind him.
It's behind the counter, yeah. And then his back is turned to Quincy, and then you just see Quincy walks back into the store, and this time he has his shotgun in hand, and then nonchalantly just shoots Richard like nothing.
Wow.
He shoots like...
So he had someone but the other guy was just there? Oh, okay.
We'll get there, yeah. So as soon as he shoots Richard, he walks behind the counter, and he started pressing the buttons on the...
To get money, I'm guessing.
On the register, yes. About 30 seconds later, literally, you just see him like this, picándole a los botones, and then you see a customer walk in from the other door. There was two entrances to the surveillance. And then this customer began walking to the counter towards Quincy. Yeah. And then Quincy literally picked up his shotgun, which he had leaning against the counter, and then just shot the customer before he even made it to the counter. Just picked it up, boom. Shot him.
With no remorse, nothing.
Nothing. When Quincy made his way to the body of the customer he had just shot and took his keys and wallet and then shot him again. Oh. He leaves the store and then returns, goes up to the camera, sticks his tongue out.
What?
At the camera.
Wow.
And then I think he gives it the middle finger or some sort of gesture. And then he leaves.
Okay.
Now, the investigators in North Carolina reach out to their counterparts in South Carolina, knowing that that's where he was wanted for murder. So by this point, as far as investigators knew, Quincy had killed 4 people.
4 people, yeah.
Dale, Jed, and these 2, Richard, and then the other customer. Yeah.
As far as in immediate right now.
Right, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Now, you'd think that someone who's currently on the run for murder wouldn't be this stupid.
Never.
But alas,
never.
He is, thankfully, you know?
Thankfully.
The following morning, on Monday, August 12th, investigators in South Carolina learned from employees from the Texas Roadhouse that Quincy has reached out to some of them and bragged about what he had done.
What?
And how he had a hit list and was planning to return and take care of the people on that list.
And I believe him. And I believe him.
He was on his way back,
Yeah, I believe him 100%.
The employees were able to provide law enforcement with the phone number he was calling from. And when they ran it, the system pulled it up as an Ohio number.
Okay.
The phone records for that number were subpoenaed, and it came back that the phone belonged to 29-year-old Robert Roche from Ohio. So he was the victim that was shot at the convenience store.
29.
29. Mm-hmm. Robert was a teacher, and he was on his way to Charleston, South Carolina to meet up with college friends.
Wow. No reason. No reason for him to die.
And it just sucks when innocent people are at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah. No reason.
Because everybody goes to a convenience store. Everybody goes to a gas station, like...
He just walked in probably to pay his gas.
Yes.
He was just like, let me go pay my gas. And this guy just shot him for no reason.
And como si nada también. Como si nada. Shot him twice.
And then took his wallet and keys.
And keys. And then you learn that he took his car.
And his phone.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Quincy traded his car for Robert's, a red Ford Explorer, and had been using his cell phone, as we know. Later that Monday, another employee from Texas Roadhouse let investigators know that she'd gotten a call from Quincy recently. And él estaba soltando la sopa. Like, he thought of her like a friend. I don't know.
Okay.
¿Quién sabe?
Pues no está bien el muchacho de la cabeza, pues.
Yeah. They were able to work with her and tape the next call she received from Quincy. So I'm going to play this call, okay?
Okay.
I'm like, I bought Coke. I really wanted the Coke, then I wanted it. Where were you hiding your gun at? I didn't have it then.
So he says, I just walked in and, I was trying to buy a Coke. So la muchacha, the girl, she asked him, where'd you have your gun? And she's like, I didn't have it. I'm too smart for that.
Never turned around. I just shot him right in the back. He just jumped and he was just crying. That's when that dude walked in. What did he say? He didn't say anything. He walked in. I looked. I said, stop. I shot him. I think in the stomach. Fell to the ground. Oh my God. Oh my God. I shot him in the head.
So then that's he was talking about shooting Robert.
This is going to be really gory, but could you look at like the inside of somebody's hand without puking? I don't think so. I don't know. I stared at it. Why did I puke? I see that dude brains all over the floor. In the future, from now, if I approach anybody with my gun and they see it, it ain't nothing they can say or do that's going to stop.
So he said, if I have ever looked inside of somebody's brains and not puked, and he said, I didn't. But yeah, that was him.
Well, I mean, the thing is, it sounds like he's just trying to be cool.
Yes,
that's what it sounds like. Yeah. It doesn't sound like he's like trying to tell her the story so that he's
like showing off.
Yeah, he's showing off. Yeah,
he's bragging.
Yeah, bragging.
Now, investigators were able to track him through Richard's phone, and they were able to see that he was making his way back to Columbia. For this reason, Brian Marquis had patrolling officers outside his home, as well as the other people that Quincy wanted to kill. He said that he was going to come back for. But Quincy did something that investigators weren't expecting. He diverted and was now driving towards Atlanta.
Okay.
And then either his phone died or he stopped using it because they stopped being able to track him. However, he was using Robert's credit cards and leaving a trail of purchases, and that's how he was being tracked now. Baboso, right?
Yeah. And what time was the police going to go get him? I'm just asking. Were they just waiting for him que viniera o qué?
No, they were trying to find him.
Like, I'm like...
Because, I mean, they thought he was coming back to South Carolina, pero le dio pa otro lado.
They could have, like, intercepted him or something.
How?
I mean, pues si saben dónde anda, I'm just saying.
By Wednesday, August 14th, Quincy was in Texas.
Okay.
And he had just stopped at a convenience store. Bitch, I'm never going to want to go to a fucking convenience store ever again.
I'm not going to a convenience store again.
In Mitchell County. So I looked up where Mitchell County was because I didn't know. Do you know where Mitchell County is?
Probably somewhere in North Texas or something.
It's in West Texas, just outside of Abilene and heading towards Midland.
Okay. Like he was like all the way down there.
Yeah.
Like,
ya casi cruzando.
Casi, yeah. Iba para Mexico, qué chingados.
No, pues tampoco, güey.
I'm just saying.
New
like,
Mexico, not Mexico.
No, but you know what I mean. Like, por la frontera. Was he going through Tijuana or something?
When he made this purchase at this convenience store in Mitchell County, an alert was sent to investigators in South Carolina. And so they reached out to the sheriff in Mitchell County, Patrick Toombs, and let him know that there was a murder suspect was traveling west on I-20 in a red Ford Explorer with Ohio license plates. Now, Sheriff Toombs, he hit the streets.
He's not playing.
He's like, I'm hitting the streets, and he began to drive west and was looking, just driving, through the little streets looking for the red Ford Explorer, and he found it.
What?
He found it as he drove through a roadside park. He ran the plates and it pulled up as a stolen vehicle. So Sheriff Toombs parked near where he could keep an eye on the Explorer and called for backup. And they knew that it was Quincy, but it appeared que él estaba dormido. He was taking a little nap.
He was taking a little nappy nap.
Yes,
he was tired.
Cansado.
He was tired from all the driving,
All the fuckery.
All the fuckery.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. When the backup arrived, they quickly, I guess antes de que se despertara, they placed spike strips in front of the car.
Okay.
And then Mr. Toombs, he got on the PA of the car and,
made an announcement.
Yep, he sure did. Told him to put his hands up and to come out of the vehicle. Do you think Quincy listened?
No.
So all of this is, I believe it was a dash cam. I don't think it was body cam. So all of this is online. You can pull it up. And so you see Quincy jump from the back seat to the driver's side. And then, he turned on the Explorer and he drove forward straight over the spikes. And he began driving down the street as law enforcement began to shoot at the fleeing vehicle. The spikes managed to pop one tire of the Explorer, which made it difficult for Quincy to actually drive. And a chase did ensue, but it didn't last very long because Quincy crashed into a vehicle that was pulled over on the side of the road.
Oh, maybe he was trying to, pull over.
Many patrol cars arrived. Officers literally had their guns drawn, and they were yelling at Quincy. It looked like an episode of Cops.
I can just imagine.
It was crazy.
I can just imagine.
They were yelling, get out of the car, and you see Quincy begin to climb out of the driver's side of the vehicle. And law enforcement really thought that, it was about to be a shootout. Because there was no way he was not going to go down without a fight. So when you see him climb out of the window del driver's side, he surrendered.
Oh, he was tired. Es que ya se había cansado.
Es que I don't think he wanted to die.
I don't think he wanted to die. No es que no están mensos. No están mensos.
He's a
Pendejo
pussy.
No está. Yeah, and he's a pussy for sure. Yeah. Because what happened when that lady confronted him?
Yeah, Miss Roberta.
Exactly.
He said, gotta go.
Gotta go.
Yeah. Gotta go set fires.
Yeah.
Gotta go do some arsons. So he was taken back to South Carolina. Oh, I'm sorry. He was taken back to Surrey, North Carolina, where he confessed everything that he was being accused of, beginning with the shooting of the homeless man in the park, Mr. Jimmy White.
Why did you shoot Mr. Jimmy White?
Killing Dale Hall. The Texas Roadhouse shooting, killing Jed. And then the double murder in Surrey, North Carolina.
He just sang like a little bird.
His reason for killing was that when he was in federal prison, you know how I said that the year prior he was for the car theft charge? So when he was in prison for that, a fellow inmate told him that he could get him a job as a mafia hitman.
What the fuck?
And then I guess he got tired of waiting for his little fellow inmate to get him the job, or quien sabe. So he took matters into his own hands and he became...
But who the fuck was he going to work for if there's no mafia? Who? Oh my God, this man.
He also told police that he would have killed more people if he had a handgun.
Wow.
But his prior record prohibited from getting one.
Yeah.
But he got a shotgun.
He got a shotgun. Because it's que a shotgun takes longer for you to reload and do all of that, and a handgun is more automatic. Sí. ¿Te imaginas?
Imagínate cuánta gente no hubiera matado.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's motherfucking crazy.
So he was going to be tried in Surrey, North Carolina first. During the jury selection for his trial, he took a plea bargain and pleaded guilty to 2 counts of first-degree murder.
I was about to ask, do they kill over there or no?
Hold on. He took a plea bargain and pleaded guilty to 2 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of armed robbery, a felony larceny in exchange for 2 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole.
No se quiere morir el cocho.
Then he was brought back to South Carolina to face the murder charges for Dell and Jed. The prosecutor, Barney Geese, filed for the death penalty.
Yes.
Quincy pleaded guilty, and in the penalty phase, he was sentenced to death. In 2021, Quincy was still on death row at the Kirkland Correctional Institution in South Carolina. But the following year, his death sentence was overturned by the federal appeals court, citing that the judge who sentenced him to execution ignored Quincy's psychiatric problems and abuse as a child, which should have disqualified him from the death penalty.
Oh.
Yeah.
They feel bad for people over there.
I don't know what I'm not sure those are
how that
works.
How that
like
works,
I don't know if that actually plays a part.
That's
So Quincy.
So
Quincy was.
It's okay for him to kill all these people because he has mental issues, and all these people died for no reason. But you can't die because you.
But remember, they said that he wasn't insane at the time that he committed the murders. So Quincy was resentenced to life a life sentence and agreed to never appeal the life sentence. So that's the case of Quincy Allen.
He's a character.
Yikes.
I don't know.
And they stated that when he shot Jimmy in the park, that was like practice.
So did Jimmy die or no?
No, he didn't.
Okay.
But remember, it was dark, so he wasn't really able to tell them anything about who had shot him.
And he was the one that had the serial killer written on his stomach, right?
No, it was Quincy. Yeah, it was Quincy, that did that with Shonda. So they think that Jimmy was like target practice, and then he ended up killing Dale, and then he was going to do it with Shonda, but she managed to get away.
Wow.
And then the whole thing with Jed and Brian, like that I don't think he planned that happened, right? Like that was in that moment.
And I think it was because when he told his co-worker, I'm going to punch you in the stomach or something.
Yeah. So she was like, boyfriend, come here. You know, he was known to be a dick and just picking on the women at work. So
that's just, it's speechless. You have to be speechless. There's nothing for you to say after this case. Like nothing for you to say. Like you can't even turn it around left, right, on his back, whatever it is.
But
horrible.
You feel bad for how he grew up, and that's not an excuse, obviously.
Once again,
and it explains his behavior, but it doesn't excuse it.
No.
But then you feel bad for him as a child, not the adult. But then you think about how he killed Richard and Robert at the gas station in North Carolina.
And then he's talking about it like nothing.
He's laughing.
He's laughing, and he's like, "Oh yeah, girl, let me tell you about what I did.
Yes.
I saw the brains, girl,
on the
floor. Like that's not somebody that has regret for doing something that he's like.
And he says like, I'm gonna come kill everybody else, you know,
and I'm gonna come back and kill everybody. And then he ended up this way. I don't know, but. Sister, thank you so much for bringing that to us. Let us know what you think. If you would like to follow us, you can on Instagram at
Cafecito and Crime Pod. And if you would like to download our episodes, leave us a review and or rate us. We would really appreciate it. I forgot. You can listen to us anywhere that you listen to podcasts, including YouTube now, audio only.
Thank you so much for everyone's support. We appreciate it. And we will be waiting for our questionnaire.
Oh, yeah, our answers.
Which one is better?
Oh, yeah.
South Carolina or North Carolina?
The fun, random, interesting facts.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much. And we'll talk to you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.